Hello, welcome. This is Michael. Welcome to week 6. Thank you for everyone for all your hard work these past couple weeks learning HTML, or at least some aspects of HTML in order to mark up your data. I look forward to looking at those submissions. We'll try to have grades and comments out by midweek. To get you started for this week, we've got a two-parter again. Let's go over to here's the Canvas site. So this week we just want to get oriented to next week's assignment, which is actually going to start to do the kind of things that you, I think, have been wanting to do, and that's to visualize. But we're still not quite there. So if you thought of your markup as the first start of identifying a structure without talking about any visuals, yes, good, you've accomplished that. This week, we are going to do a little bit more hands-off in terms of visuals. We're going to talk about navigation and understand site mapping and navigation structures. And then we're going to put it all together next week when we start to actually visualize flows and start to do wireframing. So yes, you will finally get a chance to begin to draw and visualize things and see how they look, but it's not going to be that important this week. So this week is about navigation, and I've got some comments on it and how it works and how you can sort of get started with it. There's also quite a few sites, so I think one might be we're talking about user onboarding is a good one. This is just a nice site that has someone go through the typical, since a lot of sites involve you giving personal information or starting an account. User onboarding really tries to talk about what it means to get oriented in that kind of a fashion of how a site tells you what they're about and what they do. And so it's fun to go through a couple of these slide decks because it gives you both what happens or what the site does and how people and he reacts to it. So it's a fun site to have bookmarked and kind of go through. Um, let's see. We will be working in Mural again this week, so I'll give you a little tour of what's going on in Mural. There's also a lot of resources within Mural, such as these pattern library sites and some more blogs. So there's a lot more to read this week that is probably indicated in the Mural. I can actually add those links to our other site as well to make it less confusing. I do want to talk a little bit about last week. So if you wondered, I had you go through and look at attributes of files, attributes on your computer files. And it might have been a little confusing because I think if I looked at these, about half of these are more organizational techniques that take place outside of the file itself, and some actually use what's in the file itself. So if you looked at the attributes, and I think that understanding or misunderstanding is helpful. So just to know that your data might not have all the information it needs to be able to organize itself in the way that you think would be useful to an end user. You might have to add new ways for them to organize it. And we did talk about things like hashtags, which is a user way, or tagging is a user way to be able to organize things. But if you haven't gone through and taken a look at the comments here and the things that I've said, please do. And if you're still curious about HTML or need more help as to what semantic HTML means, which is using tags to indicate structure more than just marking it up to look right. So all the goal is to get some sort of semantic structure so that as we start to design, we're kind of way ahead of the game. In fact, we've, in a sense, already designed it. We just need to understand what those structures visually look like. But also, I thought the commenting here was great. So if people aren't catching up with the different comments here, please do. If you haven't figured this out, there's also an area over here called Activity, which gives you everything everyone's done so you can sort of catch up as well, just kind of read through the activity area. Now, as to this week, there's a few things. I did want to kind of point out as we are investigating tagging, and just have an example here of how a lot of things are mistagged. And I think you already have all mentioned this, that even though they're selling one thing, they will tag it with pretty much everything just so a search will find them. So Gaming, we're not getting to completely yet, but people do game this stuff pretty often, and who can blame them? But I do have a couple sites here. This is going to be a video about a website navigation design and the Smashing Magazine article. Little joke here, but I would like you to start to think about it. If you were to envision someone using your data, how much interaction do you think it takes? That number of clicks used to be quite important. I'm not sure that it's number of clicks more than how much thought goes into each click. So we might, in fact, navigate or manipulate information quite a bit in a page, but we wouldn't think about it unless you had to reorient yourself quite a bit or make, in a sense, hard decisions. But so this is just a little bit of a primer as to the click rule. There's a lot of navigation styles. I think everyone can, if you don't mind just picking one of these that hasn't been taken and finding an example of it, we can just kind of take and do another visual library here, put in some images and talk about what we like or dislike about each method. Over here to the right is some other libraries in case you wanted to sort of go through what are the different primitives for both mobile and desktop. And then the big thing for this week is to come up with a sitemap. And I sort of created my perfume sitemap here. I think I need to put in a few lines here, but we have a home, we have a product by name, we have new products, so this would sort of be a vertical here, new by accord. I have products by process, and then we have sort of a checkout area where you want to buy that. That includes payment and a cart. So if you want to do it here in Mural, that's perfectly fine, as I just did. So this would be sort of the head out. There'd be the sent wheel, new products, cart, checkout. The goal here is, of course, not to, you could also use Trello as a good place for a sitemap, is to just kind of think through what your site would look like. Again, we're trying to get away at the moment from visuals, but we want to be able to plan this out, and we want to start to think about a flow through the site. So you can also, like you can see here, slice and dice things by sort of a small area. But I figured we can make this, once again, hopefully interactive, where we can chat about different ideas, we can ask questions of each other, we can try to understand, what site mapping and site flow are very similar, but I think site mapping would use a more formal vocabulary, the one that you came up with as your opening header. So that would probably be your overall navigation. But what's underneath it and what will people do is my question for this week. So that being said, I'm always here for questions, and hopefully everyone is feeling energized by our progression. We're almost to the point where we've created information. We're almost to the point where we're getting it in front of people, but all the work that we've done so far is crucial. So hopefully that is all connecting with you of why we've taken the journey this way. So have a great week. Talk to you soon.